Hi, hello, welcome to Devon Monk's Works and Worlds. This is Monday Monk 72, I think. And I forgot today was Monday, so I almost didn't film this. My husband reminded me, hey, haven't you done your Monday Monk thing? I'm like, oh no. So I'm here. This might be short because I am ill prepared. But thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you stopping by and checking in to see what's going on in Monk World. We're going to just hop right through. I usually talk about what's going on with writing, knitting, and just general monk things. So with writing, things are going well. I have done no writing since we have last seen each other. And it's because we went on vacation. Where we went to Pendleton and went on the Pendleton Underground Tour. Pendleton is a town in Oregon, in easternish Oregon, and it was a great time. That was a really neat tour. It talked about the underground city, basically, that was built under Pendleton, including butcher shop, I guess, ice cream shop, of course, the brothels that were down there, and the places that the Chinese that came over to build the railroad and do so much more, where they ended up living too, opium dens. It was a lot of history, really fascinating. It was cool too. Just if you're a little bit of a history buff, absolutely worth going on the Pendleton Underground Tour. We also went through the Air Museum right next door to the Pendleton Tour, and that was fun too. Really interesting things packed in there and lots of good history. And we went from there over to Clarkston, Washington, to go on a riverboat ride up the Snake River. Okay, see, I'm supposed to start off with writing and I'm talking about vacation, but that's why I haven't been writing, because we went on vacation. So writing is going well because Hellbent is on sale for 99 cents. Go pick it up if you want it cheap. This is the revised author's version. Again, if you read this when it first came out, years ago, you have the basic story and you do not have to reread it. That being said, it's in much better shape this time around. Maybe worth a reread. Stone Cold, which is book 2 in the series, is on sale for $2.99 right now. Also, same story. It's a revised author version. If you read it back in the day, you know the story, but this version's better. And Backlash will be coming out in a couple weeks. And then right after that, Dirty Work will be coming out. And that's the 4th in the series. And that one's new. And so now is a good time to grab the first 2 cheap. The sale will be running for a few days. So get it if you can. I will, if you want. I'll put the link down below. That's the writing news right now. Okay, what else is going on? Knitting. I have started the next knit toy for the August giveaway. I'm actually ahead a little bit, people. This feels very good. I did it on vacation. It's probably 75% done. I'm happy with how it's turning out, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. But remember, I'm giving away the little TV and the Slingshot Alien in this month's newsletter. If you are not signed up to my newsletter, not only do I share new releases from my author friends, I also always give away a knit toy. So check out this newsletter. If you subscribe before, I would say Thursday of this week, your name will be in the running also for the toy for this month, because the newsletter is going to go out on Thursday. If you subscribe after, then your name's in the running for the new toy that will be August giveaway. So just sign up for the newsletter and you'll be in the running for the toys. That's that. What else? Okay, so now we can go back to vacation. We went from Salem, Oregon, which is where I live, all the way over to Clarkston, Washington, and I have my husband write down the numbers because we were talking about how far it was, and then I started losing track of all the numbers. So Salem to Clarkston is about 380 miles one way. And we drove that in our RV. We had recently done some modifications in it to make it a little bit more comfortable, like some shelving inside the cupboards and things like that. Worked really good. We enjoyed the changes that we made in the RV. For those of you who prefer kilometers, it's about 630 kilometers one way. Pretty good drive. It was 106 degrees over there in Fahrenheit over there in Clarkston. Hot. It was hot, people. More hot than I prefer. And then we went up the Snake River, which is up Hell's Canyon, which the Snake River is at the bottom of Hell's Canyon. And that was about a 10-hour round trip boat ride in a jet boat. And we hit some class 1 to class 5 rapids. So we hit more probably twos and threesies, and then we hit a couple of fours and a couple of five rapids, which was really fun. And boy, the rocks were so close. You could like almost reach out and touch the the boulders we were trying to zoom around. It was really fun though. I would do it again. So that river, we went up 125 miles, which is about 210 kilometers one way, up to the Hells Canyon Dam, which was finished in 67, to just kind of get a look at that. I think that's the only way you can see the dam. I don't think there's any roads that come into it. So that was pretty cool. And on the way, we saw a lot of birds, a lot of bald eagles, golden eagles. We saw Canadian geese, which are everywhere, pied crows. I guess those are the crows with the little white on their chest, pied crows. And we saw blue heron and egrets and one red-headed ducky goose type bird that I don't know what it was. I've been trying to figure out what it was looking online, but I'm not sure what it was. Some little swallows and sparrows and those kinds of things, and mourning doves. And then we also saw bighorn sheep, and that is the first time any of our group had seen bighorn sheep, and they are big. Like, you think of a domesticated sheep, and they are larger than that. They're like twice the size, if not more. So that was very cool. We saw a ewe and her, I think it's ewe, right? We don't do doe for bighorn sheep. It would be a ewe, right? A ewe and rams. So yeah, we saw mama and babies, and then we saw a bunch of rams, a bunch of the boys all hanging out together too. So we got a couple of, and we saw deer, because we saw a couple of fawns and babies too up there. What was really funny is there's a hiking trail put in along the entire river, I think just about the entire river, by the CCC, the, what's it called? Well, back in the 30s, they created jobs, Civil something Corps. I'm not thinking of it right now. Like I said, it's later than usual filming this, so I don't know quite how all my brains together. But that walking trail was hacked into the side of the cliffs and the hills there so that you could walk the river. I mean, it's a hike the river. And the deer were using it, because why not? I mean, it was cleared, right? And anyway, so the deer, we were watching a mama deer and a baby walk down the path, and when the boat kept going upriver a little, and just not very far upriver, there was a man hiking the trail, not in the same direction as the deer, but the deer were totally going to overtake him. And I kind of wish the boat, the captain would have just stopped so that we could see that startled interaction when the deer ran into the man. But we didn't see it, but I'm sure everything was fine. It was just kind of cool to see that everybody was using the trail. So there's fish in the water. There are steelhead. There's also bass and bluegill, and I'm sure a lot of other fish in there. There was one that people were fishing out for $8 a fish because it's an invasive species, and I can't remember which one that was. But there are also sturgeon in that water, up to 10 feet long, and those are, old prehistoric fish that are out here in this area. We didn't see any sturgeon, but you can fish sturgeon up there. You just it's catch and release. But that was pretty cool. There's a lot of historical markers on the way, places where you could see where there was copper mining and where gold mining was people were looking for gold, not finding it. Sheep farms that were up there for many years since the early 1800s, but were all closed down. I think the last one was closed down in the 1970s or something, because they were afraid that the domestic sheep were giving the bighorn sheep a lung disease that wiped them out. And so the bighorn sheep that are in that canyon were brought in from bighorn sheep up in Canada. And so they were reestablished in the 1970s, and now you can't sheep farm up there anymore. But there are cattle farms up there still, cattle ranches. And here's one kind of cool thing. So the river's wide and fast flowing, and on either side are high cliffs, basically, like a lot of basalt cliffs on the sides, and just very rocky hills kind of thing. And so one family's had a cattle ranch up there for, I guess it's been in the family since the 1800s or something. I might be wrong on that part, but it's been in the family since maybe the 1910s or something. So it's on one side of the river. So they still work the ranch. And so what they do is they have a building on the one side of the river where the ranch isn't. So ranch is on one side of the river, and on the building on the other side of the river is a garage. And in that garage, they keep a couple cars or pickups or whatever, and boats. And so when they want to get to their ranch, oh, I guess there is a road, but it takes like hours and hours to get that road down into the ranch. So what they do instead is they go up the other side of the river where the road is faster, open up their garage that they have built over there, get in their boat, go across the river to the ranch, do what they need to do at the ranch, and then get back in the boat and go back across and put everything away in the garage and take off on that side, which I just think I love human ingenuity about that kind of stuff. Like, that's the shortcut, take the boat. That's very cool. There's some historic ranches or historic museum houses up in that area, moonshiners. What else did we end up at? There's a couple actual just museums, which are preserved homes and cabins that are now owned by the Forestry Service, I think. And our captain pointed out a lot of camping spaces and places that are used in the winter more and where the private land, because we were mostly between Washington and Idaho, and occasionally between Oregon and Washington and Idaho following the river. So that was very cool. And how the land gets used differs by each state. There were a lot of rafters on the river, a lot of float rafts, a few other boats, jet boats and stuff, lots of fisher people, and several other rivers fed into it, and creeks, and one tiny waterfall. And the thing that impressed me the most, that I was the most excited to see, and I hadn't expected to see it, were two things. One was a very deep layer, probably about, from where we were in the boat, it looked like it was about that big of a stripe. So it's much larger, due to perspective. That stripe of gray up in some of the tall rocks there on side of the shore. And it's a layer of ash, and it's a layer of ash from when Crater Lake, when the volcano that was there in Crater Lake blew up. It blew the ash all the way up there. That was pretty impressive to me, and it was a thick layer. I didn't realize the explosion was that massive. Like, I remember Mount St. Helens exploding, and I remember how much ash was from Mount St. Helens to here in Salem, and it was, I don't even think we got a quarter of an inch. It was just a kind of a sprinkling of ash. But when that mountain down in Crater Lake, which is much more south than where we are at, blew clear across the state of Oregon and up into the Washington, Idaho area, and left like feet and feet of ash. And that's massive. So that was really cool to see. And the other thing that was really neat to see were petroglyphs. He said there's a lot of them, but he took the boat and he went nose first toward the shore and parked us there for a minute so we could see some easily from the shore. We didn't get out of the boat. We didn't go mess with anything. I wouldn't anyway, but it would have been neat to see more. But we were able to see basically two rock faces that have petroglyphs of human type shapes carved into the rocks. And there's like several people-y shapes at the bottom of the rock. And at the top of the rock is a people-y shape with antennas on top of the head. Like, the rest of them don't have that, but that top one has antlers or antennas. It looks like antennas because they're single sticks, but like, that was kind of cool to see. Got some photos of that. Here's the other story. You always talk about the good things that happen at vacation, but the funny things are the things that were bad that happened or almost bad that happened. So here's our bad or almost bad story. So we're trying to get to this little park called Harris Park. And it is inland, so it is south from Milton Free Water. Milton Free Water is a tiny little Oregon town. And so we are following Waze directions. And we've used Waze a lot and have never been led astray. It's always worked out fine. But Waze was acting a little weird, like it wasn't giving us alternate routes and these kinds of things. And it was telling us it was going to take an hour to go 14 miles. And I couldn't figure out how twisty a road it had to be that it would take an hour to go 14 miles. And I was a little intimidated by it, but we were following it. So we follow this Waze route to the campground we're trying to get to, and the road becomes a smaller paved road. Okay. And then that smaller paved road becomes a even smaller gravel road. Okay. And we're climbing hills. We are up. We are going up in elevation. Everything's a valley below us now. So we get way up on the top on this gravel road, and there's like a tower up there, but we have zero cell service. So we are cut off from civilization. Waze is useless. We just know what is left on the screen of where we're supposed to go. And where we're supposed to go is off of the tiny gravel road, onto an even tinier dirt road. We're in an RV on the top of a mountain. Dirt roads going downgrade aren't necessarily the most safe thing for RVs, depending on, what kind of RV you have. And like, I'm starting to think, do we really want to do a dirt road? Why do they have this tiny little dirt road from the top of a dang mountain going to their campground that's like, a state-owned campground? It should have decent roads going into it. Why are we going on a goat trail, right? So we all look at the dirt road. We're like, there? Yeah, there. So we go driving down that dirt road, and not so far down it, just a couple blocks down it, is a big metal gate that says no vehicle traffic and has a big lock on it, and we were stuck. We could not go through that gate. We weren't going to open it or try to get around it. We knew that Waze had taken us in the wrong direction. And honestly, I was a little relieved because I did not want to go 14 miles and take an hour on a dirt road in an RV on top of a mountain with, I don't know if there were rails, or I don't know if it's a hiking trail or what, to try to get to this campground. So we backtracked. We got all the way back to Milton Freewater and got out Google Maps, which is what I had originally used to find the campground to stay in. On Google Maps, it's like, oh yeah, just turn left here. And it's like the highway all the way there, basically. So we get into Milton Freewater and we take that left turn, and there's a sign there that says Harris Park down that way. Like if we had done that, we would have seen all the signs to the park. So we took the signs, got there less than a half an hour. Nice little park, very busy because it's summer, and I think it's the North Fork or the Walla Walla River runs through it. So there are a lot of people using the park, which was fine. Everybody was very respectful. Lots of kids on bikes, having a good time, and people out in the little North Fork of the river. It's kind of a creek, out there wading. It's probably about knee deep, and so we stayed there, and that was really good. But it was a good, successful trip. I got some knitting done. I got some thinking done about projects, and just some downtime, which, we all really need. Life is busy, and it's good just to take some time away. Until next time, I want to remind you, check out the books that are on sale. Sign up for the newsletter because that's where the toys are given away. And I will see you soon. Safe travels. Bye for now.